Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So we're back at it with the regular videos again. Now, I know a lot of you guys really enjoy these 10-minute videos, the shorter ones that don't take up a whole lot of your day. It's like kind of short, sweet, in and out kind of information. And those are the type of videos that I really like to do. Over the last couple of weeks, I have been incredibly busy with trying to get into this house, trying to deal with everything that was going on at the time. And it really took away from a lot of the research that I normally do throughout the week. Reading of articles, just trying to pick up information and come up with ideas to do videos for. And I've just been really so occupied trying to do other things that I really just haven't had the time to do the research to put these videos out. I really enjoyed the lunchtime videos that we had done, the live streams. I mean, those were a lot of fun, guys, and I really enjoy hanging out with you on lunch and doing those videos. But they take up a lot of time, and again, like for the channel, I don't think like a lot of the viewers really want to sit around for a half an hour while, I eat lunch and talk economics. They would rather have like one of these short, sweet videos. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to leave a link down in the description for a Federal Reserve speech talking about transitory inflation. And now I know a lot of you are not on board with the whole idea of a transitory inflation taking place. A lot of people are under the impression that inflation is here to stay. Like this is going to be a permanent framework for monetary policy going forward. I really don't see that. I think that at some point we are going to see supply chain disruptions ease. We're going to find the flow of material and inventories and all the products that, are sitting at warehouses and in containers and on ships. All this stuff is going to start flowing and freeing up again. Once that takes place, we're going to see that price pressure, that constant increasing, we're going to see that diminish, and we're probably going to even see prices come back down. Now, I follow this a lot in the way I followed lumber. Now, lumber was a very interesting story. When we went back and we were watching the shortages take place in lumber, then we saw the price increases come up. We saw the massive amount of production kick into gear. We saw the distribution network open back up, and we saw the prices come down. And that is probably going to be the same story for everything out there. Now, I'm not trying to say that the Federal Reserve's money printing doesn't cause inflation. I'm not trying to say that that's not happening. When the Federal Reserve prints up money, price increases are bound to happen. But I don't see the hyperinflation or that non-transitory inflation like what people are saying. I see it much differently. Now, I've been more on board with the deflationary scenario, especially when it comes to the unproductive debt. But there's a lot of people out there talking about deflation, like Kathy Woods, more into like the tech industries, making life easier, making production easier, making everything like advanced and more efficient. That's going to be a deflationary scenario. That is very true, but that's not the deflationary scenario that I have been following. I'm looking more at the unproductive debt that is going to have to be paid back. So at some point, you have to stop consuming and pay back that old debt. And when that takes place, there's not a lot of activity in the economy happening. Most people end up having to save a lot or not spend, at least. And that, like I said, is going to be very cumbersome to try and work through as far as the economy goes. But there's a couple of items out there that I have been trying to follow and waiting to see the price increases take place, because that would tell me that, yes, we do see price inflation coming from a devaluing dollar. But there's certain things that have not moved yet. And that main one that I've been following is felt. Asphalt impregnated building felt. It is a very common item for both siding and roofing. There are other house wraps out there, other vapor barriers that are becoming a lot more popular, but 15-pound felt is probably the number one most popular house wrap that has ever existed. And it hasn't moved one time. It's the exact same price that I have been selling it for like the last 5 years with no changes to it. Now, the other week, I saw the 30-pound felt had gone up pretty significantly, and I'm thinking, well, there it is. Wait a minute. So I went to the buyer and I said, hey, man, it looks like we got a major increase on the 30-pound felt. Is that true? And he goes, what? And he goes and he looks and goes, oh, no, I put in 42. I meant to do 32. Thanks for fixing that. So it didn't move. Like, it still has yet to increase a single dime. Now, some of the other items that I had tracked was like fiber cement siding. Remember, I had said a few months back that there's going to be a short supply of fiber cement siding. And sure enough, that happened. We were unable to acquire the most common fiber cement siding for months. But we had a truckload come in. It sold pretty quickly, like most of it. But then another truck came in because we ordered them back to back because we couldn't get them. That truck is still there. We got another truck coming in November. See this panic buying? It wasn't necessarily panic buying. We just wanted to make sure that we could secure it because we didn't know how long it was going to take before the shortages were over. It's the most common siding out there, at least in the Pacific Northwest. And if you don't have it, you're in bad shape. So it's not like it's a product that's going to sit around for years. I mean, this thing is, you could have 10 truckloads. They're all going to move. It's just how much inventory do you want to be sitting at a time when it's available? Like, it doesn't make sense to have 3 truckloads of anything when you can just order another one and have it shipped to you within a reasonable amount of time. But if you don't know that, then you have to do something about that ahead of time. And that's what a lot of people have done. It's like they're worried about allocations taking place. Like, they order 100, but you can only get 20. So they order 300 or 200 or whatever so that they can get more than what they really need, or at least they're ordering more than what they need so they can get what they need. So these orders are showing up as far as like the wholesalers and the manufacturers, they're seeing these orders that are just massive. But really, that's not like a real order going on there. They're just ordering more because you're allocating everything out to them, and so they're receiving less than what they order. So really, I think a lot of what we're seeing out there as far as demand goes, coming from like the mainstream media, is really not a demand coming from the consumer. It's a demand coming from the stores, from the warehouses, stuff like that are creating this kind of artificial demand because of the allocations that are taking place. They're asking for more so they can get more, even though they know they're not going to get that much. Does that kind of make sense? So anyway, in this Federal Reserve speech, if you read through it, he comes down to the end where there's basically 3 reasons why he believes that the inflation is transitory. And really, it comes down to those supply chain breakdowns, COVID restrictions, which are all like self-induced for the most part. Like, if you didn't shut everybody down, if you didn't tell everybody to go home, if you didn't tell everybody to not, travel and spend their money and stuff like that, then a lot of this stuff none of it would have occurred. I mean, it just wouldn't have happened. But they shut the economy down. I mean, that's basically, like, in a nutshell, the only explanation for what happened. I mean, go home, don't produce anything. Guess what happens when you run out of stuff? I mean, what else? What did they think was going to happen? But they were in fear of deflation this whole time and prices dropping. And so if you make this supply chain breakdown and the demand goes up, demand, supply, prices. This is, it's obvious that's what, has occurred here. And that's the reason why the prices are moving up as high as they are. But then the last reason, and this is one to really kind of focus in on, because everybody's focused in like on the here and now, on what's taken place. But really, one of the reasons that they think that this inflation is transitory is because the long-term inflation expectation still seems to be remaining at that anchored low interest or low inflation rate, not a low interest, but a low inflation rate for the long-term expectations. The short-term expectation is very high, but it's the long-term that they're truly worried about, and they do not see the long-term inflation expectation rising. So, okay, Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know. Oh, and come back for bingo tonight. I'll do the live stream for bingo later tonight. All right. Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know.